But then it's not over there.
Yeah, it's,
How's it going?
Good, good. You got a couple of minutes after the meeting where I can talk to you?
Sure.
real quick?
Sure.
Good.
Yeah, sure. How was your trip?
One of the best we've ever taken. It was absolutely amazing. It was so well run. I mean, they ran our butts off.
Triple check.
I
That's
mean,
recording.
first day alone, and we were only on Mount of Olives in Old Jerusalem, which is a pretty small area. We walked over 7.5 miles, and it was all up and down. There are no flat spots to be found. Pretty much.
yeah, I mean, as long as you have the audio and it knows
8 o'clock
that
in the morning to about 6:30.
the Zoom meeting should record the Zoom,
In the evening.
the Zoom audio on the computer, we should be fine.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Good.
So I did everything.
How much battery you have? How much battery do you have?
Yeah.
I'll be back. Made sure to
Charge my phone for that.
How's your summer going so far? Oh, this next couple of weeks.
She doesn't take the heat well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and got ready for this week's weather while we were there.
So I figured it's
So the day we went up to
for her, you know.
the top of
It's not-
Masada
it's not
Fortress
as it is, yeah.
Yeah.
was
I'm actually in the
118
process of
degrees.
purging paperwork.
Oh,
And
okay.
there is not one square inch of shade
I had to do. a
at
lot of
Masada.
searching
There's
for
nothing
paperwork
alive
and
at the top of that rock.
stuff. That's it.
Uh-huh. You gotta make sure everything is able to be found.
So I consulted with people, how long do I have to keep certain documents?
Right, right. Get rid of them.
It was actually almost that hot down by the Jordan River.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't realize the Jordan River is below sea level almost its entire length.
My wife,
uh,
I don't.
From Sea of Galilee all the way down to the Dead Sea,
Yeah, right. I know. I know the feeling.
which is a
But I'm finding some.
interesting
treasures.
experience all by itself,
In the
being
mix.
in the Dead Sea.
Okay.
I mean, you literally just sit down
That you're like,
You can
oh,
sit
wow,
down
Forgot about this.
This is
in the
Right,
water
Right.
and have a book,
Because sometimes things do.
and
get
you will just
misfired.
remain in
Oh.
a sitting position. You
I
know, with
know, I
about
used
half
to
your
file
body in the
everything,
water,
now
and that's
everything
it.
is
That's as far as you can sink.
But I still have a lot of records that are paper. I just got boxes and boxes on them, but it's stuff that you keep that you think, oh, I'm gonna need this. You're just kind of like, oh, okay. If I get audited, I get audited. But
Scared to get in the databases of
go, you know,
get hacked.
and then they
Okay.
don't have any of their information. Yeah.
Hello, Robert.
There's a computer class
Uh-huh.
and one of the more progressive, enthusiastic
Hello, Mr.
students
McConnell. How are you?
got into part of the mainframe computer
Uh-huh.
and he erased.
You got the same idea.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have a backup?
That way it won't ring.
That's right.
Yeah.
See it for
And it was
yourself.
at work, you know. I guess it's already started. No. What?
Guess what?
Oh,
It's
man.
already started right there where West Lane was rough.
No.
It's
You didn't do it
starting
on
to drizzle
purpose,
now
right?
out there. Yep.
It was a mistake or something.
Yeah, not really, but
Yeah, he just was in a part of the mainframe. He shouldn't have
It
been.
shouldn't have been. Okay.
Yeah. It was. It was ignorance on his part.
I'll never forget that.
Doug, you've been gone, right?
I have.
I still remember seeing
This was pleasure.
Yep.
the instructor come in.
Yeah, it was
It's just
spent,
what's
9
going
days
on?
in Israel,
what? Yeah.
which was
Someone.
incredible.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That must have been
incredible.
all through.
It was
You're not doing
with
that
someone.
before.
It was
No.
somewhat, no.
And usually, my wife and I are
He did
very
take long-
independent
these
when we
things
travel.
together.
I mean, we'll generally just fly into the city, get a car and go.
Uh-huh.
And this one was a completely organized tour. And I'm really glad we did it
Oh, I did.
because we would have missed 80% of what we saw. Our guide was so good. You know, I mean, every step of the way.
Okay.
And he wasn't one of those guides that pulls up in front of a place and says, well, there it is. I'll see you back
Hey,
here in
Matt, I
2
thought you were
hours.
gonna get pulled
I
out
mean,
of
he
class
was
there
with us
for a
every
second.
step.
Oh,
of the
yeah.
way, Inside
Oh.
explaining, you know, the very specific elements of
Yeah.
buildings
No,
that
no
were
such
in,
luck.
exactly what happened there and that kind of stuff. So it was, you know, and a couple of really cool experiences, like
Let's get some free
one of the
water
people in our
for the
group
grass.
wanted to be baptized in the Jordan River.
Okay.
Must be.
And not entirely sure how, but
That's
I
all.
got picked
Parked it and turned around.
to do all of the scripture readings for the baptism ceremony, which was
The other meeting.
pretty
Uh-huh.
amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I would imagine you'll never forget that.
No, I won't. And it was a fun group. I mean, you're always, because I knew these people, almost all of them
But
had
you said they were
traveled
gonna be
together.
absent
Some
tonight,
of
Dave?
them
I guess
several times
Rachel
with
just
this
emailed,
Oh,
said she
tour
wasn't gonna
group.
be here.
Arnold's gonna be
I was
late.
kind of worried about being the new kid. in the
Arnold,
story.
right.
And,
Okay.
And by the end of the first day, we felt like we had been with them forever, just real welcoming and
That's
fun. And,
That makes a big difference.
and Jerusalem's a fascinating city. And then we made it all the way up because we made it all the way up to the Sea of Galilee.
We have a quorum with 6, right?
And then all the way down to
Still got 4
south-
minutes,
to the
though.
south end of the Dead Sea and pretty much everything in between. So, yeah, they ran our butts off.
That's wonderful.
So the first day, just in the Mount of Olives in the old city, we walked 7.5 miles. And as I told him, said, and there are no flat spots in Old Jerusalem. It's all either up or down steps and houses. and
LCIP going, scheduling.
We were tired.
As fun as it always is.
The only problem was coming back because of
That's
the
a
way
bad
it
word,
worked
isn't it?
out with our flights and everything
It's
else.
every
From
year
the
it's the
time
same
we
thing,
walked out
Yeah.
of the hotel for the last
It's like hurting
time,
cats, but
until we
Everybody's on
walked into
vacation
our
this summer or
house.
something, or?
people just haven't answered yet. So I was gonna wait until Wednesday to book.
That was
When I
brutal.
saw your dates, I went, oh, 27th, absolutely.
Wow.
I
And
got
the only
5
saving
meetings in
grace
it.
was we had
Well, I mean, if we have to, we can move back to July.
emergency exit bulkhead.
I'd like to try to get it
seating, so
in
we had
1
the
or
extra
2
room.
days, but I mean,
And what I found
The
actually
reality,
made more difference than being able to stretch your legs out, which is
modern
nice.
meeting scheduling is that.
What made it even bigger difference is
Just trying to
having enough
find
room so you could
Time
actually
and day that works for everybody.
stand up in front of your
At least
seat,
most
which
people.
allowed you to be able
So you're
to,
pretty sure you
you
want to
know,
go
stretch, and, you
Yeah.
know, do some knee bends and
Oh, they
work the
let you
kinks
sit
out,
those
and
things.
that made more
Yeah,
difference.
because it's not, there's not a
anything,
quorum
so-
or anything. And
But it's still a long time. A bed looked really good when we walked in the door.
See, I'd like to look the managers in the eye when I ask questions.
You can, they just don't know you are.
So yeah, I think we'll be looking into more with
Is
this
it mandatory that they show their face
group
on?
because he does he does specialty tours for the most part. You know, and they're all kind of
picture up there.
intended to
Yeah.
be educational
Out there, we're
and
like,
that sort of thing, much more so than, you know, like our hotel in Jerusalem was, it was older and the room was tiny, but it was spotlessly clean. Very, very quiet. And what he picks him for most of all, just perfectly located. We were 5 blocks and we were in the old city of Jerusalem, so. The last day we were there, we went to the Israeli Holocaust Museum. That was intense. In fact, about 2/3 of the way through, I told my wife, I said, I got it.
Hey, there's Mr. Porter.
You know, said I'm either gonna scream, cry, punch something, or whatever. It's just
How are you?
too much.
No, it is, yeah. It's got a red sweater. It's
Well,
very-
well, Thank you.
Oh, let me just see
Yeah,
you.
walk right back in the middle of stuff, so.
Here might be up.
Didn't get a whole lot better.
No.
How are you, Jim?
No,
Oh, good. How are you?
All right.
Time no see.
Next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Oh, my God, it's summer.
June 13th, the planning commission will come to order. Our first order of business is the pledge of allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mike Maddox. Rob McConnell,
Present.
Mike Modry,
Here.
Doug Kozensky,
Here.
Wendy Bradley,
Present.
Arnold Weinfeld,
Here.
Jim Schweitzer,
Present.
and Rita Proctor is present.
Okay, next is approval of agenda.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Mr. Weinfeld, supported by Kaczynski. Supported by Mr. Weinfeld.
There you go.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next is approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move approval of the minutes of the May 9th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting, including the summary record of public hearing case number 422-3 SLUP for a self-storage facility at 936 Mall Drive East.
Support.
Been moved by Mr. McConnell, supported by Mr. Moudry, that we approve the minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Next is citizen comments for items not on tonight's agenda. Anyone wish to speak? Please step forward. Seeing none. Correspondence, we have none. Old business, none. Public hearings. Ms. Proctor, please.
Yes, case number 5224, special land use permit request for an adult care congregate facility, west side of Marketplace Boulevard, opposite Executive Drive. Petitioner is and Dave Group, located at 680 North Lakeshore Drive, Chicago, Illinois, 60611.
Please.
So before the planning commission tonight, we have a hearing for a special land use for adult congregate facility on a piece of property that's currently zoned RN multifamily residential. If you look at the staff report, there's just a couple things that they weren't able to obviously meet the standard for, or one that I just wanted you guys to discuss. The first being impact on public services. So since that time, I have spoken to Township Engineer Ernie West, and he doesn't see any issue with us being able to adequately serve this development with water and sewer. And then also there's a standard about traffic generation. The applicant posted or submitted a letter for another regional project that they did or are doing within the area. They presented some numbers. This project's actually going to be a little bit smaller. So I didn't have any concerns about the traffic impact for this development, but I just wanted to make you aware that the numbers that they provided were not necessarily geared towards this, but their reasoning is sensible.
Okay.
And any questions you might have?
Anything, any questions of staff?
Oh, they have a new one. You have a digital copy, you could email me and we could project.
I don't have internet connection here, but when I have one, I will.
Okay. Ultimately, for the SLU, I don't have any glaring concerns on the new proposed plan that we just got. It would appear it's a little bit larger than before. If I remember correctly, it was 60 assisted living with about 60 memory care.
It should be 60 and 65. That is the final. Come to the podium, please. Sure. Name and address for the record. Thanks.
My name is Michael Samuels. My address is 414 West Burr Oak Drive, Arlington Heights, Illinois, and I'm here with NDEF Group. We also have representatives from our civil engineering firm, KEBS, and we also have our operating partner, Tom Ostrup, and our overall coordinator, Dunn Bars here also. So if you have any questions at all, we'll address anything that you have. The unit count is 65 independent, if you will, units, apartments, and a total of 60 assisted living and memory care units.
Any questions of the applicant?
No, so I mean, as I noted in the staff report, a lot of the specifics for the SLU are really best taken care of during site plan review process. So, you know, we'll just make sure to that all those standards are met when they come back for site plan review.
Dave, I have one question. We've got that, what do you call it? The stormwater basin. Is that going to be fenced in? Would that be fenced in? Would that be a requirement?
It wouldn't be a requirement in the zoning ordinance.
Just think with the fact that it's elder care that, you know, it's unlikely that anybody would wander out, but it'd be a safety measure to possibly have that fenced in?
I mean,
I know it's not.
I don't know that we could necessarily require it. I'm fairly certain that you guys have had many facilities.
If I may, yes. There is a memory care section to the building. That memory care section is self-contained and has wander guards. And in essence, you need permission to leave.
Right.
You need to either be accompanied by a staff member or a family member in order to leave that unit. So
Okay.
it's secure from that standpoint. Anybody who otherwise would be on the grounds
Right.
is not impaired in that
Right.
manner. They may be physically impaired, they may be in a wheelchair, they may have some other issues, but they would be free to go anywhere that they normally would anyway.
Okay. Well, I was just a secure safeties. If you've got a,
I understand, and there will be.
That is covered in fire.
A safety shelf on any wet detention.
okay. Thank you. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the audience wish to speak on this?
Mr. Chair, I move to close the public hearing.
Support. Been moved by Mr. Whitefeld, support by Mr. Boothby, that we close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Commissioners.
Mr. Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay.
I move that the Delta Township Planning Commission recommend approval to the Township Board of a special land use permit for an adult congregate facility matching the boundaries shown on the submitted KIBS plan dated 4/21/22 for the following reasons, and there are three.
Support.
Moved by Mr. McConnell, and support by Mr. Whitefeld, that we approve the project.
That's all you keep.
This is a roll call vote.
Mark Modry,
Support.
Jim Schweitzer,
Support.
Wendy Bradley. Support. Arnold Weinfeld,
Support.
Doug Kozinski,
Support.
Rachel Elzinger is absent. Mike Madoff, absent. And Marita Proctor votes yes. Bob McConnell,
Support.
Okay, we have approval. David.
So this is just a recommendation of approval. The final approval goes before the Township Board. More than likely, that'll probably occur on July 5th, because we're obviously going to be closed on the 4th. So that'll be a meeting in this room, the Township Board. You may be required to talk. They might just vote on it.
Okay, well, we can be in touch.
Yep.
with staff.
Yep.
Thank you all.
You're welcome. Other business, Ms. Proctor.
yes, sir. Look at my sheet of paper here, please. Please, thank you very much. Preliminary site plan review submitted for Byram Self-Storage Facility located at Lot 6, Delta Commerce Subdivision, Delta Commerce Drive, Section 10. Petitioner is Jim Byram, located at 3639 Meridian Road, Leslie, Michigan, 49251.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So this is the site plan review portion of a request that you've seen. Now, this will be the third time. So in November 2021, we rezoned this property. It's 4.4 acres on Delta Commerce Drive from office to commercial to allow for the special land use request to take place for a self-storage facility. That was approved in December of 2021, I believe, by the Planning Commission, and a couple weeks later by the board in early January. Back with the full site plan now. Fairly similar to what you saw before. The only kind of outstanding kind of regular site plan issues, I haven't heard back from the drain commissioner, fire chief yet, so those will just be conditions of approval if you decide to approve. During special land use permit discussions, I think the most pertinent things were just that it fit in with the neighborhood. The aesthetics were really important. I think the three most important things that were mentioned by both staff and planning commission were the fencing around the outside, which he met. It's an attractive iron fence. That you wanted the buffer zone in the front that's required to separate commercial activity from residential across the street. You wanted the traditional green belt to just actually incorporate the existing burn there and actually be the buffer zone B, which they did do. And the only really other outstanding issue pertained to the actual facade of the building. So you wanted gable roofs, which they did, and they gave two options for facades. And Mr. Byram is here and he wanted to kind of discuss that with you. I'll pull up the pictures here in a second. I forgot to load those up, but he thinks that the base with the masonry facade looks better, but he feels that when you look at it from the road, that berm is probably going to obscure the masonry. So he's wondering, he also presented a view with the facade sort of in the center of the building, kind of around the two middle faux windows there. And I'll bring up those pictures here. And said Mr. Byron is here if you have any further questions, but I'll pull up that area or the facade so you can look at it. That's the first option with the facade or the masonry on the bottom there.
Just a street. I didn't know if you had a picture.
Mark?
I didn't know if you had a picture.
Yeah, I do.
Oops, actually. There's a picture with facade in the middle. So I don't know if the planning commission has any kind of preference either way, or I mean, I personally think that the masonry on the bottom looks better, but I mean, I think he's right that you probably won't be able to see it. Let me pull up. That one, it's like I'm open both at the same time.
Yeah, the only thing I noticed on the facades is if you look at the picture of the existing buildings, it's on page 2 of the plan. The vertical facade on the storage facility actually kind of mirrors the look of the residences across the street. So
That is true. That's correct.
Prefer that. Okay. And then, I don't know if you have any questions for Mr. Byram or Mr. Byram.
Jim Byram, 3639 Meridian Road. That's the only reason why I came up with that gabled look.
Yeah.
I've never really seen it before, but I was like, gotta tie it back in somehow. I personally don't, I feel like if you were looking from the road, they'd probably be fine. That was all exposed. Maybe. I mean, maybe not quite that much, but that's the one reason why. Because the apartment's right across the street.
Yeah.
So that's.
That vertical gate, does that swing across the entrance there?
No, the vertical gate will swing straight up. It's on a pivot, a 90-degree pivot. So it will be right behind. Right behind that one tree. Yeah, that tree right there. So the pivot is actually right behind that tree. It pivots up from the building.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why is because I can't get I mean, I don't want a pivot gate. A lot of storage facilities have them. Actually, a lot of everybody has them. But I don't have to travel because of the berm. The berm's in the way to travel. So if it's a 20-foot gate, you need 40 foot at least to travel.
Now, how does that affect the units to the east there? Is that? Yeah.
So, part of, what I discovered with Dave is we have to have pass-through parcels. So for the pass-through parcel, the very far left side, the east side of the facility,
Right,
that will be the pass-through to go through the Horrocks or the hotel or whatever. So it really did kind of, it played kind of a challenge with the gate and the fencing as a whole. So, I'm not sure if I'm gonna put a second. So we're doing phase one. So between phase one and phase two, I can make a decision if I want to put a second gate in. As of right now, that between the left building and the building that has a gate on it, that will just be a wrought iron fence going across it. So literally, you got to drive in, and come right back out the same.
so in order to access the structure on the far left, you've got to go back and then come back
Yeah.
around?
Yep.
Now, originally, I didn't want to do that, but with having a pass-through site, I have to have a gate there. Because I don't want all these units to be exposed to public.
Right,
I want security. We've already had a little vandalism over there. So that's part of the reason that I want lights, I want fence, I want. I think it was just kids, but it's still just a point.
so in which, do you have an office in
No
this?
office.
No office at all?
I'm running a facility now in Leslie that is the same size as my phase one Township. We don't have an office. Working out absolutely great. So I guess it's not part of site plan, but I can register people. They can go online and register themselves. I can meet them on site. My wife and I meet on site. Really not too often, maybe once a week. We'll meet someone, or I can go over the phone. They'll text me their driver's license number. I always want people's driver's license. Maybe I like to see who it is. I don't want to fake. So I always have them text me their driver's license picture and then get a credit card, and I talk to them over the phone, and it's usually someone that doesn't have like email or can't do website stuff. That's who I deal with. It's awesome. It's really working out.
Okay,
And basically what I do is I just tell them what units there is, and they open up the unit. The lock is already in the unit, and I give them a gate code. And before they get access to the gate, the contract gets emailed to them, they sign the contract, and if they don't sign it, they don't have access. I mean, it's so simple.
okay. Any questions of the applicant?
I mean, I've talked with David, Matt, both. I'm a younger guy. I really want the site to look really, really well. So I'm trying to work with it as much as I can. Like I want this, like this is my goal, because I want great tenants. And I feel like any kind of rental you have, if you won't stay in yourself, that's who you're gonna get as a tenant, right? So I want a nice facility. My rents are gonna be a little bit more money than they're not getting cheapest rents in town, because I want good clients. So,
I'm just curious, how do,
Ms. Bradley?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just curious, how do you know that someone's not stored something illegal like guns or weapons?
well,
Well, I know, but you might sign something to say that, but we really don't know what anybody's storing, right? You
yeah,
don't
we
look
don't
at
know
what
if
they're
anybody's
storing.
storing, but, I think there's 22 cameras on this site. And we have them going in our office, revolving circle. I somewhat interview a little bit. There are people I've told that we don't have any vacancy. It's pretty easy. But at the same time, that's part of the reason my wife and I check people in and out, because I'm there. I'm always there. I mow the lawns. I plow all the snow. I do. My kids and my wife and I would do it just because I want. It's a huge asset for me personally. Like, I need to make sure this thing's taken care of the way it should be taken care of, because it's a huge asset. So, how do I know if they aren't?
You don't, right?
I try the best, though. I really do.
Mr. Boudry.
I think that when we were talking about the facade situation, it was like we were concerned that we didn't want it to look like a bunch of pole barns.
Yeah.
Okay, so it had to fit into the neighborhood better. And I think you did a good job. I prefer option 2 myself.
Which one's option two?
The one with the gate goes up the center.
I think that's the one we should do.
Yeah.
Just because that's the one that's.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Thank you.
As you can see, also, we didn't bring garage doors towards that. We put big windows in this. Really wanted to tone it down.
Any other comments?
For your detention pond, the fenced in area, our detention pond is all in the down storage, water storage. So that was part of the, I do have drain commission approval already.
Okay.
I have road commission, I have location approval. We're not in a disagreement with it, but the slope coming in is like 0.5% more than they want. It just legality, we're gonna work through it. I already sent back a proposal, so I'm just waiting on them to approve it. So I pretty much have everything. All the permits are ready to go. So,
It says right here that you're not going to dredge the pond.
dredge the pond.
Yeah, that was a question. You circled no. You're not going to.
So, actually, there is wetland on our property, so I had to get DEP permission as well. They waived all wetland rights, essentially, whatever that is. I have a letter saying that there is no wetlands. So there was a lot to get through. I mean, I want to site plan approval a little sooner, but I had to get my ducks in a row first. I didn't want to bring something to you guys that drain commission would approve, right?
Chair,
Mr. Weinfeld.
I'm prepared to make a motion.
Please.
I move that the Delta Township Planning Commission approve the preliminary site plans for the Byram Self-Storage Facility as illustrated on site plans prepared by ENG Inc. and dated 5/12/22, subject to the following stipulations, of which there are 3.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Weinfeld, supported by Mr. Kaczynski, that we approve this site plan. Any just further discussion? This is a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Matt?
And, we'll be in touch, but yeah, it sounds like you're about 90% there, so we'll, yep.
Line director comments.
Chair.
Mr. Weinfeld.
I was not able to attend the last meeting, but I have a question about the self-storage building on Mall Drive East.
Zap zone.
Yes, sir. Is that going to replace all of the current businesses there?
Yes,
So
so,
Zap Zone and the other,
yeah, it's my understanding that the Zap Zone is gonna go into the mall, is what the plan is. I guess that's what the developer of the self-storage is actually following him I think he did in Ann Arbor. He's gonna, hopefully as a new business model, just follow him as he moves his Zap Zones into larger facilities. So yeah, the Zap Zone.
well, I have to say, I'm glad to hear that because Zap Zone is obviously a place that brings people, families into the township. And, maybe they get a bite to eat while they're here and so on and so forth. So I am glad to hear that. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Dave, you gonna,
We're Wendy's as a question as well.
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Wendy,
No, the memo at the end, is that new? The something new that you're doing, the planning, it was from Gary?
Well, no, but typically he's done that before, but he wasn't doing it when he was ill.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I wasn't doing it because there wasn't much going on.
Oh, okay. It was a nice recap.
We were
Yeah.
really busy.
I don't think so.
I mean, in our office, right now we're going through CIP. Gary's going through the battery plant. I'm sure you're well aware that Delta Crossings is on hold. So we'll see what happens with that. They still haven't submitted for final site plan for the apartments. And regarding that, there were, some conversations regarding a bioswale in Carlson Road that's been deemed unfeasible. So it will likely be a boulevard, but so that plan's still kind of unfinished.
And the current disagreement between the developer and.
It was, it was a little bit of that, but actually most of it was that it wasn't a large enough, there wasn't a large enough bioswale area.
I'm going back to why the project was stopped. Right?
Oh, you'd have to talk to.
Okay, but that means that the current structure for the home store.
I think the home store is still on. So that's still.
That's not what I read. I read that consumers, the credit union and Olive Garden are still on, but I read that the home store is not. And that would be of some concern, given just expressing my concern as a resident and planning commissioner, if that home store is going to sit there for months on end in the current state it is.
Mhm.
okay. Anything else?
Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
McConnell,
I think it was the last meeting or the one before that, I can't remember. The developer, in order to move forward, had to clear a number of trees. And he agreed to replant some. This was one where we had discussion about precedent. And I guess my question is, does the township have a tree replacement policy?
We don't.
We don't.
But that is something that we could look into. I know Gary wants to work on a whole slew of zoning ordinance amendments, in the upcoming year. So, I mean, that's definitely, we have an opportunity to look at that. And I think it's something that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to see it get up on the agenda in the future.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Woodruff,
David, Colin left us, and so we're searching for a new economic development. How's that going?
I haven't been a part of it, so you'd have to talk to Brian.
Okay.
With Colin, the economic developer actually left the purview of the planning director and then was put into the manager's office hierarchy. Granted, he still sat in the planning department, that's where his desk was, because, it's kind of important for us to be able, especially, with Colin, who was, newer to the area and didn't know, so we were able to, provide a lot of support for him. But as far as, how many applications they received or anything like that, I'm kind of not in that conversation.
But it says he's been gone for 2 months.
About, yeah.
Wow.
He went to the city of Cincinnati, which I can't.
Looks like a better job.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a better job, but it's going to be a lot more work for him, that's for sure.
It's also a lot more money.
he seemed to develop some projects when at the time that he was here.
Mhm.
No, he was really hardworking. He was
Yeah,
always
it's
doing something.
helpful. Mhm.
Young people like to work. You remember when you were young, Rayma?
That's right. Now that you bring that up. Well, we could always bring Ed Reed out of retirement and put him back to work.
I don't know if Ed Reed would do well on Restaurant Appreciation Week. That kind of wasn't his thing.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. McConnell,
move for adjournment.
moved by Mr. McConnell, support by Mr. Weinfeld, that we adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carried. 6:33.
Your son is-
Over by 3 minutes.